The Kia Carens has entered the Indian market with a bang, with introductory prices which are not only impressive but shockingly good. In fact, it undercuts the car it is based on, the Hyundai Alcazar, by a massive margin. So, we were able to find not 5, not 8, but 10 things that the Carens does differently as compared to the Alcazar. Before we go further, if you haven't subscribed already to ZigWheels, do it right away and press on that bell icon to stay notified. In terms of styling, where the Alcazar is trying to be a macho SUV, the Kia Carens, on the other hand, proudly flaunts of it being a comfortable people carrier. First up, it is wider, longer and taller as compared to the Alcazar. Not only that, it also has a longer wheelbase to have better interior space. The window area is too larger and the tall boy roof promises to give you better headroom as well. Now, if there's one thing that we want to change on the Kia Carens, is the small 16-inch wheels. Sure, smaller wheels is good for ride quality, but they look a bit too small on a car this large. Unlike the Alcazar, which looks like an extended version of the Creta, which has a similar grille design and even in profile it looks quite similar, the Carens, on the other hand, from every angle looks completely different. This gives it an unique identity. The same goes for the cabin experience as well, where in the Alcazar the dash design is exactly the same as the Creta. In the Carens, it is completely different to any other Kia car on sale in India. It carries the people-friendly exterior theme on the inside as well, where it feels more like an MPV. For example, you sit further away from the windscreen. Not only that, because the window line is low, you get more glass area, which in turn gives the Carens' cabin better sense of space as well. Powertrain options on both these cars differ quite a bit, apart from the 1.5 diesel engine, which also the Alcazar gets. But when it comes to petrol, Carens takes a slightly different route, where you also get one extra engine option. The base variants of the Carens will get the 1.5-litre naturally aspirated engine with a manual transmission, which the Alcazar doesn't get. Now, in terms of outright performance, this engine might not be that great, but for everyday driving, it might just prove to be enough. The second option is the 1.4-litre turbo petrol with a 6-speed manual or a 7-speed DCT transmission. Now, in terms of outright power, it might be down by 20 PS as compared to the 2-litre engine on the Alcazar. But it has a lot more torque, which should make it more effortless when fully loaded. Where the Carens falls behind the Alcazar is in terms of standard features. For example, the Alcazar right from the base variants gets a panoramic sunroof, a 10.25-inch touchscreen infotainment system, drive modes and alloy wheels. The Carens in the base variants gets almost nothing. But one place where the Carens does have a distinct advantage as compared to the Alcazar is in terms of standard safety kit, where right from the base variant you get 6 airbags, ESP and TPMS as standard. In terms of feel-good features, the Alcazar feels like a proper upgrade over the Creta. For example, you get a 360-degree camera, a digital driver's display, larger 18-inch alloy wheels, a second wireless charger for the middle row. The Carens, on the other hand, actually misses out on some features as compared to the Seltos. For example, you don't get a 360-degree camera, a heads-up display, and you also don't get a power driver's seat. Not only that, even the wheels on the Carens are smaller, 16 inches as compared to the 17 you get on the Seltos. While there's nothing unique in terms of practical features in the Alcazar, you get quite a bit in the Carens. For example, you get one-touch electric fold and tumble function for the middle row seat for easy access to the third row. Pop-out cup holder for the front passenger, cool front cup holders, roof-mounted AC vents for the second and third row, under-seat storage tray and a lot more. Both these cars come with either a captain's seat or a bench seat for the middle row. And both these cars also get convenience features like window blinds and 2 USB charging ports. But there are some elements which change the middle row experience quite a bit. Where in the captain's seat version of the Alcazar, you get a armrest console with a wireless charger, While in the Carens, you get more functional features like roof-mounted AC vents with a separate evaporator coil with speed control for better cooling. And then you also get a one-touch electric tumble function for the left middle row seat for better access to the third row. The biggest difference between these two cars surprisingly comes in the third row. Thanks to the bigger body, larger glass area and better packaging, the Carens' third row proves to be surprisingly comfortable. Where the third row in the Alcazar is a bit cramped and only good for short journeys, thanks to the Carens getting more than enough knee room, good headroom, and because the seat is placed at a good height, you get decent thigh support as well. So even long journeys in the Carens' third row will prove to be surprisingly comfortable. Apart from the different petrol motors, there's a huge difference in the way these two cars behave out on the road. Where the Alcazar feels very similar to the Creta in terms of ride and handling, the Carens on the other hand feels polar opposite to the sporty driving Seltos. In the Carens, the suspension feels plush and more comfort oriented even as compared to the Alcazar, so you can spend long hours in the Carens comfortably even over bad roads. Overall, the Carens and Alcazar are very different cars despite them sharing the same platform. Now that the prices are out, if you want maximum bang for your buck, then the Carens just nails it, and Kia definitely has a winner on their hands.